Hello, this is the audio clone of Mr. Von Neumann. This tutorial is on how to create a badge in Photoshop. Start by going to File, and you're going to want to open up a new document. Make sure, I really prefer that the background when you're making a badge or a logo is transparent so that when your finished product is done, you can just place it onto a website or into whatever you're using and you won't have any of this square white behind it. So it could be a real problem if you got the white. So transparent, and we'll go default size. Okay, the first step in making a badge is you're going to want to use custom shapes to lay this out. So you go to Shapes, hold it down, and you go to Custom Shape. Now, in your Photoshop, there's probably not going to be too many shapes. You might have a small portion of these in there. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to have to go to Edit, Presets, Preset Manager, and you're going to go to Custom Shapes and start loading some up. So if you just Google shapes for free, you will find thousands of shapes that you can get for free. And shapesforfree.com is a great website to use. And I've spent a lot of time just browsing through, looking at different shapes, and all you gotta do is just download them to your desktop and you'll be able to load them into the presets there. So I've already loaded some of these, some of the gears, so you just click on them and the download will be easy. And then just load them up into Photoshop. So you can download these right there. So now just go ahead and add your custom shape. And we'll go with a nice simple little circular one. Press Shift and then drag it down, and that will keep the shape. If you don't do that, it will become, this one would have gotten shaped like an oval. So see, if I just do this without doing Shift, it doesn't keep the perfect circular shape as you drag it down. Alright, next you're going to want to go ahead and add in a little bit of words to your logo. So go Text, and in Adobe Photoshop now you have, in addition to all the fonts you have here, you have 1,500 or more extra fonts in the type kit. So if you go there and spend some time looking for fonts that you like, you'll find some excellent fonts to make your logo with. So I'll pick Blakely. And go ahead and type out your logo name. Now each layer is going to be, once you click out of this and go back up here to the selector, now you can drag around. You can drag your letters into wherever you want in the logo. And once you have it on selector like this, you can go to Edit, and you can also do Free Transform, which lets you change the size of this. Again, you want to do Shift and then drag from a corner to make it the exact size you want. Now let's add a few lines using shapes again. And I'm going to actually, instead of using a line, which would be a little too fine and small, I'm going to use the rectangular tool. And this would let you make a thicker line if you wanted, or a very thin line. Now that we've made the rectangle, it appears as a layer right here. It'd be a good idea to name it, so you call it line 1. And now that it's selected, we can go up here to the fill color, change that to a color that we can see. Black won't be able to be seen. And if you needed to shrink that, you could by making sure you have the layer selected, and then you could go to Edit, Free Transform, and you could shrink it. which is a little tricky. You got to make sure you have the right line right here, and then you could shrink it down. And you have to press return in order to apply that transformation. If you wanted to make 2 of those lines, that shape is now saved in a layer, so you can go to layers and duplicate that layer. We were just about to duplicate the wrong layer there. Make sure you have your layer. That's the tricky part about Photoshop, is just with one wrong click, you click right here, it instantly drops down to the circle. You click here, it drops up to the logo. So you always got to pay attention to which layer you're in, otherwise things will get messed up. We want to duplicate that, so we'll call this line 2. So that'll be line 2. And now if we click on that and drag it, there's our second line. And we could put a little text in between here, do maybe an established in 2016. And again, you can see how tricky it is. I had actually clicked on the wrong layer and just drug that layer. I'm going to show you a trick right now to end that frustration. So let me move that back real quick to where it was. I'll go Edit, Undo, Move. And what I'm going to do is, so that circle, I'm done with it for right now. I'm going to make sure I don't accidentally click and drag it around. So I'm going to go to Lock, and I'm going to lock it. And if I also want to avoid accidentally dragging around the logo, I can lock that, and that avoids the problems that we're having there with them. And now I'll go, so we'll add another layer of text, click on text, click in the workspace, and we'll say established 2016, and let's highlight it and get it smaller. Take it down to 24, that looks good. And now click outside of it using the selector. We still have it selected as a layer, and now we can drag it. And we can, it's a little too big. So what we can do again is that free transform trick and go Shift and drag it in till it's a workable size for you. And then press Enter. That locks that free transform. And then now you can put it right in there where you want it. Center it. Okay, next. For some finishing touches, I'm going to show you how to add another custom shape and give it a custom texture. So we'll go to Shape again, Custom Shape, and let's throw a gear in here. So if we want, we can do it pretty big here, and I'm holding Shift and I'm dragging it down. And we're going to go ahead and click Enter to lock it in place. Get the selector, center it up. If we'd like to, we could do free transform, make it a little bigger, but here's the trick I'm about to show you. I'm going to go ahead and lock the established. I'm going to lock our lines, because we're done with those, to avoid any accidental moving. And I'm going to go to File, Browse in Drive. I'm going to grab a texture for that gear. So I'll go with this. I click on that. It's opened up a new sheet. Go to Window. Go to Arrange Tiles Vertically. And now drag this in to your workspace. There we go. And let's get rid of that. And here is the trick. You want to make sure that texture layer is above that shape. And then you press Control. So I was on the texture layer, I held Control, and then I clicked on the image, and I have now highlighted that image, and now I'm going to create a layer mask. And now that texture is within the gear. Okay, now the task is to get this gear under the words and under the logo. So these two layers have to stay together in order for it to work. So what you're going to have to do is just keep dragging them down in between the layers. We want them under the logo, we want it under the lines, but we don't want it under the shape, so we'll stay right above the shape. Whatever is on top is going to be what's on top of the image, and what's on bottom is literally at the bottom. So as you go down this list, the thing that we want at the very bottom is going to be the black, and we want at the top, we want the red words. So down with this layer, and that is where we want it, but it is too overpowering and it totally gets in the way. So what you want to do is opacity, and we'll drop that opacity down to like 25% on both of them. So we have to drop both of them down. That was the masking layer, and here's the original shape. So we're going to fade both of them down to 25. And you could even go lower than that. But that's the general idea. Let's go a little bit lower. A little bit lower for that one. You just want it, if we just want that faint water print of the gear in the back. And those are some basic techniques for making a badge. You've got millions of options, so play around and create your own badge. And I hope that was helpful.